The Edmunds team recently got their hands on a Tesla Cybertruck, and overall they were impressed with the truck. And in addition, in their range test, the Cybertruck exceeded Tesla's range estimates. Stick around as I cover Edmunds' reaction to the Cybertruck and also their impressive range test results. I'm John, and this is Cleanerwatt. There are quite a few Tesla Cybertruck review videos and articles out there, but I'm always interested to see how the more traditional legacy automotive reviewers react to new Tesla vehicles. So with that being said, here is Edmunds' reaction to the Cybertruck based on this article. One of the first topics that the author of this article brought up was the fact that when driving the Tesla Cybertruck out in the wild, it catches a lot of people's attention. And specifically, the author wrote, quote, "Nothing has ever garnered this much attention during a test." Next, the author reacted to the truck's steer-by-wire system. And as a reminder, with a steer-by-wire system, there's no actual mechanical linkage between the steering wheel or steering squircle, since it's kind of a yoke steering wheel combination there. There's no mechanical connection there, but instead, the wheels are moved by actuators. Now, the reason this is not a novelty, but actually a very useful feature, is the fact that it allows for variable ratio steering, meaning that when you're driving slow, like in a parking lot or around the city, the steering is a lot more aggressive. However, when you're driving faster, say at like highway speeds, the turning ratio is a lot less aggressive. So it allows you, when you're driving slow, to not have to turn the wheel so drastically to do a U-turn or to maneuver into a parking spot, etc. And also the Cybertruck, as a reminder, has four-wheel steering as well, which definitely helps with the maneuverability of the Cybertruck. When it comes to what the author of this article thought about the truck's variable steering ratio, the steer-by-wire system, he wrote, quote, "The truck is much quicker to maneuver than something its size should be." However, it took the author of this article around 2 hours to kind of get used to the steering of the Tesla Cybertruck. Of course, it's a lot different than just a standard steering ratio. And he even wrote, quote, "Things never felt quite right." But interestingly enough, this is one of the first negative responses to the Tesla Cybertruck's steer-by-wire system that I've come across. It seems like everyone else has very positive things to say about the truck's steer-by-wire system. However, likely if the author spent like a week driving the Cybertruck and then switched back to a traditional vehicle with a standard fixed steering ratio, I believe that he would find that he actually preferred the Tesla Cybertruck variable steering ratio over other fixed ratios because it just makes it easier to maneuver around parking lots and around the city, etc. When it comes to the truck's driving dynamics, the author wrote, quote, "The one-pedal driving is smooth, the power is consistent and strong, and the ride quality is supple for such a monster." Next, the author of this article brought up the fact that they did a range test with the Tesla Cybertruck, and the truck achieved a range of 334 miles according to their tests. Now, this is really impressive, especially due to the fact that the all-wheel drive Tesla Cybertruck that was equipped with all-terrain tires is only rated by Tesla to get 318 miles of range. So they exceeded that estimate with their test. In a separate article written by the same author, it was noted that with these range tests, they target an average speed of around 40 miles per hour, and 60% of their driving is done on the city, and 40% of their driving is done on the highway. In addition, for range tests, they set the EVs in their most efficient drive modes and set the regenerative braking to the maximum setting. In addition, they obviously also make sure that the vehicles have a 100% state of charge at the beginning of the test, and they drive it all the way down to where there's just a small amount of range left. And I assume that whatever is left, they do some basic calculations to get that full range without actually having to drive the vehicle down to zero. But nonetheless, on the specific day that they tested the Cybertruck, it was quite a mild day when it comes to temperatures because the average temperature during that test was 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty ideal for doing range tests for an EV. For example, if you go over to tessie.com/stats, you can pull up charts like, for example, this one, which shows the efficiency of Tesla vehicles at various temperatures. When it's too hot or too cold, the efficiency of an electric vehicle does go down. But as you can see in this chart, 60 degrees Fahrenheit is pretty close to the optimal temperature when it comes to range tests. Now, it is important to note that the range of the Tesla Cybertruck will vary quite a bit in the real world, depending on various conditions. In past videos, I have discussed several real-world efficiency results that would equate to the all-wheel drive dual-motor truck getting only around 150 miles of range in an extreme case, or up to around 281 miles of range in a more normal case, driving slower than 55 miles per hour. So of course, in the real world, not everyone's going to get 334 miles of range out of the Tesla Cybertruck, but I would actually expect more around 250 to 300 for average driving. If you're a little more aggressive, then of course it'd be on the lower end, or if you do more highway driving on the lower end. But if you have an all-wheel drive Tesla Cybertruck equipped with all-terrain tires, once again, I would expect around 250 to 300 miles of real-world range for basic driving. When it comes to how this Edmunds range result compares to the Rivian R1T and the Ford F-150 Lightning that they also did range tests on, in Edmunds' previous test, the Rivian and Ford trucks achieved more range than the Tesla Cybertruck, but do note that those trucks do have more battery capacity than the Cybertruck. However, in Edmunds' tests, when it comes to how much energy is needed to travel 100 miles, it appears like the Cybertruck is less efficient than the Rivian R1T and the Ford F-150 Lightning. When it comes to the build quality of the Cybertruck that was tested by the Edmunds team, the author wrote, quote, "It took about 5 minutes of seat time to realize that this was the best assembled Tesla I've ever been in. It feels well built, with a sturdiness that past models were desperately needing." The author then added, quote, "The Cybertruck lacks the elegance of the Rivian R1T, but it offers the best executed version of Tesla's interior to date." The author also noted that the Tesla Cybertruck's infotainment system, as compared to the competition, is really, quote, "in a different league." However, the author would prefer to have physical buttons over everything being controlled on the touchscreen, and in addition, he doesn't appear to be a fan of Tesla deleting the stocks and putting those controls on the steering wheel and the drive selector on the touchscreen. To wrap up the review, the author wrote, quote, "Our brief time with the Tesla Cybertruck was mostly positive. It feels like more of a fun toy than it does a practical pickup, but that should be fine for some buyers. There is still a lot more to learn. However, the Cybertruck has the potential to be a success for Tesla. If you enjoy Tesla's vehicles and don't mind the attention that comes with it, then the Cybertruck is the right buy for you." Do let me know what you think about Edmunds' reaction to the Tesla Cybertruck in the comments section below. And also, if you're watching this video and you are a new owner of a Tesla Cybertruck, I would love to talk to you about your experience with the truck. Please email me. My email address is John, Jon, at Cleanerwatt.com. Again, John, Jon, at Cleanerwatt.com. If you'd be willing to answer some of my questions about Tesla Cybertruck ownership, please email me. I'd love to hear from you. I'd also like to say once again, thank you to all of those of you who support me through Patreon. Your support makes a big difference and does help make these videos possible. If you'd like to find out more about how you can support my work through Patreon, I will put a link in the video description. Thank you so much.